Building dynamic workplaces, enabling flexibility, efficiency, and organization work culture. And the panelist we have with us for this one is Mr. Santosh Martin, Chief Revenue Officer, WeWork India. He carries more than 20 years of experience, expertise, and a robust skill set that includes corporate real estate, land acquisition, investments, and more. And that is Mr. Santosh Martin. Mr. Anil Kumar Savalagi, Global IT Infrastructure Engineering and Operations Leader, GCC India, Giant Eagle. A hands-on technology leader with over 17 years of experience in managing people, processes, products, and technology for enterprise IT. A very, very warm welcome to you. Joining them is Mr. Sivakumar Sethuraman, Head, Stripe Delivery Center, Stripe India Lead Board Director, Stripe, with over 20 years of experience. He is a successful product and people leader. A warm welcome to you, sir. And we have Mr. Vishnu Patwari, Founding Executive Managing Director, BDO Rise. Vishnu carries over 20 years of experience and has been pivotal in conceptualizing and realizing the vision of BDO Rise. A warm welcome to you. And joining them, we have Dr. Rajesh Punayani, VP and MD of Kenview, with more than 27 years of experience, of invaluable experience and expertise as a GCC delivery leader. A warm welcome to you, sir. Joining the panelists, our moderator is Mr. Ashwin Srivatsava, Senior Director, CBRE India. Ashwin has been associated with CBRE for about 13 years. He carries expertise in real estate, commercial transactions, business development, and account management. On that note, over to Ashwin Srivatsava. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Hi, can you hear me? Great. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be a part of the Workplace Awards. I think we have an interesting topic, a topic close to my heart. For the last 14 years, I've been getting a lot of clients in their workplace. The panel today has a very interesting mix. We have Santosh from WeWork. He's been building amazing workspaces. I mean, all of you would have heard or seen WeWork. If you've not been to a center, you must go and have a look. And we have a mix of senior leaders who have built organizations, who run successful setups. We're going to talk about building dynamic workplaces, enabling flexibility, efficiency, and organization work culture. The definition of workplace has been evolving. We see that today the ask for workplace is the most. People have not yet come back to office in most cases, and workspaces are not just places where people would want to come, open their laptops and work. Workplaces are meant to be places where people come, collaborate, have place for things to do, I mean amenities, well-being. So with that, we'd like to start our discussion. And the first question I'm going to pose to Santosh, and more because, like I said, you've been creating workspaces. So in your thought, how important are workplaces to foster innovation and creativity, and how do you go about doing it while you're doing it at WeWork?
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Thanks, Ashwin. Good to be here. So let me start with two things, right? Obviously, we all know about COVID and what's changed since then. So what was before and what is after, right? So earlier, obviously, everyone used to come back to work or used to be in the office space. So, innovation, creativity was a, byproduct of it because people were interacting so much. But since the pandemic, a lot has changed, right? Because an RTO is different for most companies. We've had anything from 20% to 70% from companies, as you would know. So I think it's becoming a little more challenging to get that innovation and creativity back in the office. We've got multiple other panelists who spoke about it from their viewpoint as well. From a work environment, it's truly evolving, like you said, right? We continue to evolve and build spaces that can foster creativity, and that mixes with hybrid, return to office kind of an environment. We've recently done an office for a software company which is about 40,000 square feet, but only about 100 seats in it. Why 100 seats? It's 400 square feet per person in other sense. But the remaining space was only about collaborative spaces, Zoom rooms. We even put a cricket pitch in there so that people can come in. You have to get people back in. So whether it's the kitchen, whether it's amenities, all of that becomes a bigger play of people to come back to actually work together in an office environment like they used to do before. I heard somebody say this before as well, right? I mean, we are all humans, right? We like the touch feel, human interaction, and that can only happen if you're in the office and work together. So that culture of innovation, creativity has to be built around the office space, and the design of that will keep evolving as we talk.
Great. I mean, I totally agree to it.
Yeah.
I'll have a leading question, and you've heard from someone who's creating workspaces, but for all of you, you're trying to get people back. Some of you would have good numbers, some of you would be dealing with the distributed workforce and people working from different geographies. How do you go about fostering innovation and creativity in such a scenario where your workplace or your employees are across? I'll possibly start with Anil, and we can have inputs from all of you.
I can take it.
Oh, sure.
So, what I believe is that the firm needs to focus on fostering a culture of inclusiveness, where every employee feels valued and heard. Also, we need to encourage, cross collaborations through various virtual platforms. What we have done is, we have 3 different streams of, revenue, where 3 different departments are there. So we try to do a lot of cross collaborations amongst them. I think we need to make sure that they have the access to the various technology tools which can foster innovations. Some of the things that Video Rise has done to foster innovation and creativity is creating some programs. We designed a program called DG Rise, which is more about digitalizing the Rise way of working, where all these programs were designed in such a way that remote employees as well as people who are coming to office can participate in the same way.
Nice.
Another program that we have, we call it as iLead program, where this was to make the inclusiveness of our junior most people, where we have representations from our junior most people who can directly come into the core leadership team meetings and present an idea and innovation that has gone through various iterations before it comes to the core leadership team. But all these ideas have kind of led to a culture of innovation and creativity in Video Rise. Another program that we do is called Talent Tribe, where we have created groups of people with similar interest, whether it's in sports, whether it's in cooking or various interests, where people can come together, exchange ideas, and come up with some ideas and be together. So that way, a lot of these programs are designed to foster, innovation and creativity.
Interesting. Doctor.
I'll take next. All right. Good evening, everyone. So first of all, I feel jealous when Santosh said 40,000 square feet on only 100 cubes, because I have a 44,400 seats. And that's an incubation space, but still, of course, I wish I should be in a position like you are currently. Now, I think in my opinion, innovation has a connotation to collaboration and physical spaces and all that, but a lot of it actually goes back to the culture of innovation, starting from the leadership team. Now, when I say the leadership team, it should be all about when somebody enters into a floor. So we are 2 times or 3 times in a week RTO, hybrid policy. But whenever somebody comes in, there needs to be an air and there needs to be a vibe on the floor that, yeah, they have to create something new apart from the BAU. Number 1. And number 2, there has to be a sense of competition within the functions and within the team in terms of who is creating what from a business value, who's creating what kind of an impact, and who is leading and who is sort of trailing. That kind of a healthy competition creates a lot of vibes on the floor that, when you enter into the floor, you see a scorecard, this team is trailing and this team is leading, and how many ideas this function has created. That creates a sense in its own self that, they have to go beyond BAU because they can't see their name trailing in the scoreboard. And the number 3 part is that technology has to play a very important role in terms of what kind of, because people are spread all over India from tier 1, tier 2, and there could be people sitting in APAC and some of the other geographies, right? So my perspective is how technology can actually bring people together from a collaboration, for example, whiteboarding sessions, demo sessions, and where exactly you can actually, do that kind of thing where, person is not physically there on the floor, but it doesn't matter. So that kind of a technology infusion into the workplace, that is what makes it a dynamic workplace. It is not dependent on you are there or you are not there, but there is a sense in the air that there is an innovation, there is a charter, there is an OKR, there is a performance goal, that everyone must have something at the end of the year. There needs to be a competition, there needs to be rewards, people should be sent on sort of trips and incentives, so that they know that innovation is not just a buzzword. Leadership team is serious about it, and most importantly, leadership team sees as a real talent retention tool and development tool as well. So workplace plays a very critical role, but obviously all those factors have to come together at workplace to create a meaningful innovation.
So I'll go next. I think I'm possibly one of the most hated people in Bangalore at the moment, because we run an office that is a 5-day in office. And even the government, I think, possibly hates us because we're putting more people on this road. Less people could actually do better for the traffic. But having said that, I think collaboration is, of course, a must for innovation. But what is important for collaboration is actually trust. And trust takes time. So you hire a bunch of people and then you say, you know what, like spend 1 week together and then go home and sit wherever you want and come whenever you can and maybe spend 2 to 3 days together, do coffee badging. The trust will not be built, because you're going to spend the first half an hour complaining about traffic, the next half an hour trying to figure out how to call a Ola or Uber to get back home. So you're not having enough time. But when you get people and you make them spend enough time together, then trust builds. And without that trust, honestly, collaboration is going to be difficult. And without collaboration, innovation is going to be difficult. And so to build that trust, the workplace becomes a fundamental, important, and critical ingredient, which is why when we started our GCC locally in India, we decided that we will be a 5-day in-office team, because we were starting everything from scratch. And till date, now 2 years now, we are a 5-day in-office. We've run it pretty good. And honestly, I can safely say that that experiment is working really well.
Interesting.
I think just to add what other panelists have mentioned, to build the trust, confidence with the workforce, the first thing is about leadership approach. Basically, the technology plays a major role in terms of busting the myth of presentism versus performance based, right? The myth of having physical presence at the office, that is not going to equate more performance, right? So I think having that model of more collaborated, communicated workforce will bring in more innovation and culture.
Great. So I'll take cues from few points that all of you mentioned, possibly inclusiveness from what you mentioned, Vishnu, technology and trust from the 2 points. If you combine all these three, given the fact that there are people who are not in office all the time, and there are people across levels, how are you using technology to bring in inclusiveness, make people have the same sense of belongingness, and creating that culture? Because getting everyone together at office was a way to drive culture. That's no longer happening in most cases. I mean, you're an exception, so I'll take that secret sauce from you for sure after this. And technology comes with its own challenges. So how are you going about breaking those? That would be some interesting bit to hear from them. Anil.
So technology evolution, right, in terms of building the digital workplace, it plays a pivotal role in building more collaboration, communication, and inclusion with the workforce, right? So there are several aspects of creating, the innovation culture within the team, right? By giving a lot of collaboration tools. So there are certain tools we can implement in terms of bringing everyone together, like innovation labs, ideation platform. So those are helping in terms of bringing more adoption of the technology, and also, it challenges in terms of the decentralized decision making at the leadership, right? So more of a data-driven decisions by adopting technology that is helping us to, enhance the collaboration and communication and decision-making capabilities.
Interesting. I have a question for Dr. Rajesh. Yeah. You wanted to add something?
Just an additional aspect, right? So from a sense of inclusion, if you talk about, then we are talking about from an individual perspective, what is important to him? He is important that obviously his role is appreciated. There is a reward and recognition, obviously, to the work that he's doing or she's doing, obviously. So how from a, the the workforce which is spread across multiple locations within Bangalore or outside Bangalore also, right? How on the technology, using the technology platform, you can actually appreciate people on virtual calls or something, virtual rewards and recognition cards, Spot Awards, Bravo Awards, and most importantly, understanding that individual's personality, what actually that person likes. Because when you are on a sort of a virtual platform, half of the team is on this part of the world, half of the team is another part of the world. Then somebody is on a video call, somebody is not on a video call. But how can you include that person who is not in the same room where the action is happening, without actually forcing that individual, like we seen in the COVID period, right? Switch on the camera, that person may not be comfortable. Without, sort of crossing those boundaries, how exactly you can still make sure that the person feels he's important, his work is important, and most importantly, he is valued for the work that he is doing. Just because he's not in the physical workplace, he's not getting excluded from the action, he's not getting excluded from the work and development and everything. So from a technology point of view, the integrated technology should make sure that the work appreciation, work recognition, talent development, all should come included, so that people don't feel they are not part of the ecosystem.
Sure.
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
now, one thing I'd like to add is that while we think of technology or policy on inclusion and things like that, what is really fundamental is the core culture of the company. If the foundation pillars of an organization are based on principles of inclusion, empowerment, collaboration, and things like that, then that gets projected onto the technology and policy that you come up with and how you use them. If you are firmly believing in inclusion, if you are firmly believing in making sure that you give space, then you build technology that will start giving you the right prompts. For example, a lot of companies use software like Google Meet, which starts telling you how much you've hogged the call and how much the others have spoken, so you can be mindful of that, right? Or they use products like Slack or other messaging mechanisms that are way more democratic, and you can Slack your CEO or like your boss or anyone else on the team. But if your core culture is not based on that, it doesn't matter what technology you put in, you just have to then put a lot of Orwellian schoolmaster policies in place to actually drive the adoption.
The other point that I wanted to touch upon, and I think chief guest in the morning gave an interesting fact. I read about it. About 43% of the workforce at some point of time is either stressed or anxious or feels isolated. So through your workplaces, and I would possibly ask each one of you to share what are you doing to promote mental well-being, and generally what is your definition of work-life balance when it comes to your team members, because it varies.
So I'll go first because you're the end user, so you guys can go last. But I have a unique problem, right? One is that we're building our buildings for multiple different types of clients. So you can have a single seater to a bank which has 6,000 seats with us. So to get all of them in one building, right? I'm 8 million square feet. I may have 3,500 clients who work out of the buildings, right? So to get all of them together in a single environment which fosters all of this is a challenge, right? So I'll break it up as two. One is WeWork and our culture. Our culture is very, very different. We are a young company. We are very employee-friendly, employee-first. Thankfully, because we have so many buildings, our employees can work from anywhere. They don't need to come to one office. So closest to home is fine. Work from home is fine. Though I get my sales team every day to office. But otherwise, it's kind of easy culture. But to build that culture across our 3,500 companies is a challenge, right? And if you come to if you come to our WeWork, the vibe, the energy is very, very different because you have all sets of all kinds of people coming in. And that, I think, is our secret sauce, right? Our community, the events that we do to get people in. We have TED Talks, we have, podcasts, we have, weekly events that happen so that other members can come in. So member experience is super important to us, and that's how we get, our members back into the office. So end users, you guys can talk about.
I can go next. So we have various programs that we have incorporated, to make sure that we are taking care of our people's mental well-being. We have programs like employee assistant program where people have option to go for counseling, external counseling, where we tie up with a provider, and we have seen a increased usage of that, as you said, like 43%. So, and then we have a lot of other programs like Wellness Basket. We work. BDO Rise, if you may not know, is a sort of a consulting firm. We do a lot of audit tax, and there are particular period in the year when we are very high, utilized in the sense that we work very hard during, Jan to April period. And in those periods, we need to make sure that people are, especially in that period, throughout the year we need to take care of it, but during those periods, everybody is very stressed out because of the very tight deadlines and all. So specifically during those periods, we are very focused on making sure that people are taking breaks. We run, challenges where we ask people to post photos of their breaks, we do wellness basket where we have started distributing the fruits at every afternoon just to promote healthy snacking. Because, when you are stressed, people eat a lot of unhealthy stuff, So we are coming up with those creative programs, which is really helping us, kind of manage our firms and people's mental well-being.
On the same line, in terms of wellness and health being, right? So introduced something called Cult Fit Challenges. People can, enroll for the remote or on-site cult challenges, right? I think that is promoting a lot of well-being, wellness and health being for the employees.
So you've worked for Amazon, Meta, Google, and now you're building Stripe. These companies are known for, talking a lot about mental well-being and work-life balance.
So I think for us, the philosophy is fairly simple, right? So first of all, well-being is very individual driven.
Right.
A group answer never works, so which means you have to have a buffet of answers for it to work. But some of the way we think about this is that we want to remove as much stress as possible from our employees' minds, the basic ones. So how do I commute to the office? What do I eat in the morning? How will I cook lunch and bring it to the office? So we remove all of that to start off with. So we provide office door-to-door commutes. We make sure that there is food available for them, so they don't have to worry about safety, hygiene, and things like that. So you take away that part of the stress away. The second thing is we want to make sure that they actually find purpose in their work, because what we've realized is that one thing is, of course, to pamper them on a bunch of things, but the other thing is that unless they find purpose in their work, they're going to be stressed. Unless they feel recognized, they're going to be stressed. So we make sure that there is both purpose in what they do and they get recognized for what they do. The third is very specific to mental well-being. What we've started doing is we now have tie-ups with firms that offer bi-weekly interventions, and we also offer a coach and a therapist are disposable for every single employee at their will. What we've also found is that there are not that many takers. Not because people are not aware, but because the fact that that is available to them is giving them much more peace to be able to focus on their work. So making some of these things available, I think, is key. The last what I've realized is that especially for cities like Bangalore or Hyderabad, a lot of people actually come to these cities for work. So they're not from these cities, and their social life is also their office life.
Right.
And so we want to tap into that. That doesn't mean we want them to work till like midnight in the office so that we can leverage that. But what we've created is we've created sort of well-being initiatives and community initiatives on the weekend. So the people bond together. They come together as a team. They may rescue stray dogs. They may go to an orphanage, or they can just go do whatever they want, where they find more meaning to their weekends. And that way, they sort of detach from work, but still are able to form a community, find their own friendships and things together. And some of this combination works. And I want to give a big plus one to what Santosh said. We used to be a WeWork tenant until a few months ago. And honestly, being in places like those automatically provide a sense of a lot of well-being because of the diverse nature of people that come in there and the kind of interactions that that particular area facilitates. There's no homogeneity there. It definitely helps.
Thank you, Shiva. Thank you. I'll pay you later.
You got to pay me later.
Yeah, I'll pay you.
So I think my fellow panelist Shiva actually did a lot of work for me, because plus a lot of things that he said actually applies to Kenvue also. So Kenvue being a consumer healthcare product company, obviously, so self-care absolutely becomes a very personal mission because of the whole business model that we are in. And in fact, last week when we had the International Self-Care Day, so we had a huge celebration globally in Kenvue, including GCC, about the self-care. So everything from wellness, what Shiva mentioned, applies in terms of, holistic wellness. So first of all, take stresses out, lunches and commutes and flexible RTO, work policies, not like you come any time of the day, but there are multiple times in the day when you can come in, multiple times in the day that you can log out. Depends on what is your traffic pattern and when you feel you can reach home, be with your family, relax, and then you can log into your US calls and all that. And then there is a certain upper limit on, to which obviously you should be logged in. And there is a strict sort of shouldn't say monitoring per se monitoring, but people definitely take this very seriously as well. So I mean, no need to repeat whatever Shiva said, but absolutely these are all things obviously on the ground that we make sure that people, when they come in, they are looking, obviously snacking on a healthy stuff, they are eating healthy stuff, and they're, not thinking about the regular logistics issues which generally bother a lot of people traveling in and around Bangalore as well. Yeah.
Great. So I know we are just 6 minutes shy of our time. So I'll do a last question. Culture is defined as a set of collective behaviors, which means that you need to get the people together in one room or in office or somewhere, which doesn't happen. But the aim of a workplace is to get people together. So in your thought, and I'll again just ask you to take a shot at it, a minute each, of what do you think the new workplaces should be, given that you are designing for inclusiveness, technology enablement, well-being, collaboration, making room for efficiency and flexibility. Because everyone's requirement of a workspace may be very different, but few things that you feel everyone should have.
Okay, so considering the time, I'll take not more than a minute, but I'll definitely. So it's a good timing for us because we are expanding into a new workplace facility within Manyata, where we are currently hosted. So all these principles that I'm going to be talking about are actually on the ground from a project point of view. So we envision a workplace where somebody comes in the morning, there is definitely some wellness, yoga, and some of the other health routines, depends on what time in the morning they are coming in. There is a healthy breakfast waiting for them, depends on, again, their morning, eating routine. Then when they get to the work, obviously there should be enough ample space from a collaboration point of view, whiteboarding, wherever people can stand, they should be able to collaborate, innovate, chat about things, don't need to wait for blocking the meeting rooms and obviously, wasting time there. So that kind of a flexibility. And when obviously post lunch, obviously that kind of, and quiet rooms, meditational rooms and things which are obviously important for a lot of people, for the new mothers who are nursing, those kind of environment. And then again, the rest of the ecosystem around that. The reason this is important is obviously post-COVID again, this is all about what kind of a personal experience or requirement people are bringing back to their work, and then what kind of a work they are taking it back to the personal stuff. So as much blending of those experiences we can bring to the workplace, it is very easy for them to do a context switching and obviously bring that kind of an individual rather than thinking, okay, from home I have come over to the work, so I have to start thinking about something different. And in a way, then there are ERGs, there are BRGs, obviously to make sure there are mental support, there is obviously a one-on-one support in terms of somebody who's looking forward to, and it starts from the leadership team. Because that is where the culture gets driven as well. Everyone has an equal skin in the game from a leadership participation into these programs. It is not like they are just preaching and then moving away and somebody is expected to follow. So that is a kind of a culture, holistic wellness, and a meaningful purpose, and connect to the brand, because that is absolutely important for Gen Z, Alpha, Millennial, anybody. No amount of money obviously is going to be satisfying and keeping them happy. So a holistic environment is what we are envisioning when we get to a new workplace for Kenvue GCC.
I think BRG, just to add what Rajesh mentioned on the BRG, right? So recently introduced something called WBRG, where we encouraged men participation also. It shouldn't be like, restricted to only the women, chairing the certain themes like talent, community, education, certain themes we introduced in the WBRG group. So I think that is helping us to have the diversity within the WBRG initiatives.
I'll put it in a very short, like when we think about the workspace, we look at 3 C's: collaboration, creativity, and comfort. We want to make sure our workspace is very collaborative by having the advanced technology, video conferencing to make sure that inclusiveness is there. We have a lot of open space to collaborate. Our seat to square feet ratio is much higher. We don't build, much seats, but we want to keep a lot more open space to collaborate. From a creativity perspective, as I mentioned, we do a lot of engagement, people engagement. We come up with a lot of programs. We want to make sure that our workspace can, facilitate those programs from a creativity standpoint. We have focus rooms where people can go and focus on certain aspects of their work life. And then comfort. When it comes to, we make sure, we think about it from an ergonomic perspective as well, and, a lot of natural light and greenery to make sure that it helps with the mental well-being and physical well-being when they are in the workspace.
So I think Reid Hoffman about 10-15 days back stated that the 9 to 5 work culture will be gone in 10 to 15 years. And I think considering a lot of his predictions are true, we possibly should figure out how to design workspaces for that time frame, 10 to 15 years from now. Thankfully, I'm hoping I'll be much older and retired. I don't have to deal with this problem. Santosh, you might have to. But having said that, I think fundamentally, the way I think of a futuristic workplace is that we need more lab-like conditions with extremely high speed, highly reliable, secure networks and machines all around. So the world where we're going to keep carrying laptops and working, all of that is going to change. As it is, it's a problem to import laptops and we have to stand in queue in Bangalore airport to get them released. So I think we need to get rid of those models where workspaces have everything that you need. The human just walks in. I think to start off with, I think that's the modern workspace at this point in time. The second is considering everybody is possibly on a gig role 10, 15 years from now, which means you're not going to have people sit 8 hours contiguous. You're going to be like an Uber on demand. So you're going to work 2 hours on demand or 15 hours on demand. I think that's what the workspace will have to cater to. A very, very different model in my opinion. And yeah, that's what I think.
That's music to Santosh.
It is, I mean, it is and it isn't. But I mean, we do all of this. Why do you need another office space? You should be sitting with WeWork. You know, I mean, so I said some time back, right? I mean, I thought the workplace would become like a hotel, right? Where you check in, you get, you book your cab, you get your food, and you leave, and you come back in a week or 10 days. You don't come back every day. But that's also evolving, right? And well, people like Shiva wants everybody in the office every day. A lot more people are gearing towards it. So I think that'll keep evolving. The workplace, 15 years from now, I don't know how it's going to look, right? I know what my next WeWork is going to look because I hear people in the panel and outside wanting a lot more of all of that. One thing that we haven't touched upon is sustainability and environment, right? So we are building energy efficient buildings today across the world, not just in India, not just WeWork. I'm just saying all developers are. So that I think is going to become a big moving part of what buildings look like. Energy efficiency, bottles. Today I'm glad to see Conrad is giving bottles and not plastic. We are a plastic-free environment at WeWork. So all of those becomes a big part of how we are building. How to save energy, how to save water, all of that becomes a big part of that. But I think, as we speak to more and more end users, that will keep changing. Because everyone will have their unique requirements, whether it's diversity, inclusivity, gender equality, all of that becomes a big play of it. Shifts, people work on shifts, so how do you cater to night shifts, whether it's, transportation, food, all of that becomes a big part of how the workplace will evolve. And like Shiva said, WeWork has all of it, so thank you.
Great. Are there any? Yeah, so we've just finished on time. But if there's anyone who has a question, I think we'll take one, if that's okay. So we'll just sum up. I think one very positive take from the conversation is that I think a couple of years back, offices were built and employees were just meant to go and work. From all of you and what I have seen personally is that organizations are in listening mode. They want to deliver workplaces which are solving for whatever an employee needs. Whether it has many tick boxes, there are a lot of good to have and there are a lot of must haves, and I think every employer today wants to build a workplace that at least ticks all the must haves and a lot of good to have. And I think going forward it's only going to evolve, get better. We're just hoping more people come back. But thank you so much for your honest feedback on all the points. And thank you.
Ashwin, what I feel is workplaces are going to get transformed. We may not call that officially experience places, basically.
Yeah.
This is where the work will be experienced rather than you actually go there to work. And that is again in resonance with 10 years, 15 years, what will happen in technology, right? So it's an experience center. Whosoever gets the best experience, individual is going to stick around with that system. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you to all the panelists on stage and the moderator.
GCC Workplace Awards 2024, presenting partner LinkedIn, co-presenting partner Alive Health, initiative by Zyoin Group, in association with Brigade Group and Adrenaline, powered by WeWork, banking partner Axis Bank, knowledge partner CBRE, strategic partner KDEM, GCC partner Thalaron Global, gifting partner Chiari,